Hi, hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today we're doing part 2 to what if Deku was the same species as Ranboo. Now, you may be wondering, geez, part 2 already? That's kind of quick. Well, I already know what I was gonna do, so, yeah. Anyway, so if I remember correctly, where we left off last time was we were cutting into the USJ attack. And no one decided to question how Bakugo got one for all, so it's whatever. Which, I mean, that's kind of self-explanatory, but, it's whatever. So, when they first arrive at the USJ, Midoriya feels this really weird presence. Like, he knows something's gonna go wrong. And the system, which I haven't come up with a name for it yet, if you guys want, and if you guys have any suggestions, tell me in the comments. It says, alarm, alarm, unknown hostiles approaching. We'll be warping in at the center in T-minus 10 seconds. Midoriya's eyes go wide. You can tell. Aizawa looks over. Midoriya, what's wrong? Dad, get everyone out of here now! What? Why? Midoriya. 13's like, calm down. This place is extremely... Okay, everyone, evacuate! 13 and Class 1 are like, huh? Wait, what do you... why are we evacuating? 13's like, Aizawa, you're really gonna trust this kid? First off, that kid is my son, and one of his powers just so happens to be the ability to sense danger. So if he's saying something bad about to happen, we need to get out. Now. Right. Okay, everyone, evacuate. They start heading towards the door. Midoriya's like, come on, everybody out. Aizawa, Aizawa, you go with them. I'll see if I can't hold him off. Nuh-uh, no way. You're not going to. I will. Aizawa. Dad, listen. There's possibility of up to 100, no, maybe even 200 people coming through a portal. You're not going to be able to handle them all. How about we compromise? You help. Dad, you're going to. I'm staying. If you're staying, I'm staying. Fine. He went, his Enderman form. Then a layer of armor appeared around Izuku that extended his claws. If you couldn't tell, it's the Shulk infused, no, it's the Shulk covered netherite armor that I created in the last part. But it's completely engulfed his body. And now he has a full faceplate with teeth to where he's still able to open and close his mouth. He takes out a giant sword. As the villains pull up, they're like, what? Where are the heroes? Did one of them notice us? Shigaraki is like that. Midoriya immediately, bam, teleports to Shigaraki. Proceed, dual-wielding swing. About to cut off Shigaraki's head, but the Nomu grabs the sword But Midoriya cuts the Nomu's hand in half before jumping back. You know, Midoriya is still able to talk when he's in this state, but it's kind of hard. He says, permission. You know, he says it kind of loud. As I was like, granted, do it! You know, his body starts morphing. You hear just cracking. You know, as he then transforms into his dragon mode, which makes him freaking gigantic. Like, he's double the size of the Nomu. You know, he slams his hand down. You know, he grabs the Nomu, proceeding to open his mouth and just incinerate it. Once it's completely incinerated, he drops it, and then he turns towards the other villains. As they all start trying to, you know, lay fire onto him. You know, as I was like, not today! You know, he uses his quirk, all their quirks are completely turned off. As Midoriya, you know, he spreads his wings, leans back, and just full power Godzilla Dragon Breath Beam. It's, you know, it knocks out most of the villains. You know, it's Kurogiri and Shigaraki. They dip before, you know, they get murked. You know, I think that's actually the shortest USJ that I think I've ever done. Also, yes, we did skip over the heroes versus villains because Midoriya, you know, didn't really participate because he wasn't feeling it that day. He was sick, so. Anyway. So when they walk out, they're carrying a few villains, you know. You know, they get arrested. Izuku gets checked. He's doing okay. So, now we're gonna skip straight... Oh, right, there's the sports festival. I forgot about the sports festival. How could I forget about the sports festival? It's whatever. So, for the sports festival... Also, I forgot to mention, Midoriya, he did go to another world. You know? He asked the AI that the system... You know, he asks the AI that is a part of the system to create a world where, you know, random monsters can be created. You know, it did, and now Midoriya has access to a bunch of new different abilities and forms. Honestly, it'd probably take me forever to explain how many he had. So, Midoriya gets to the front of the area and he's like, huh, that's a bit small. You know, I'm just not gonna bamf. I'm not gonna teleport to the end. That wouldn't be fair. You know, right as he thinks that, I was like, also, this is for my kid, Izuku. No teleporting. He's like, oh, come on. No, I'm just kidding. Izuku didn't think, like, he was gonna bamf until Aizawa said that, and he's like, oh, come on, Dad. Really? I didn't want to run. I hate running. Izuku, no talking back, or no ice cream. Okay, sorry. I'll run. You better not hold back. Also, form switch permission granted. Yes! Yes, 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 yes! And also the big three, you know, Mirko and Ryuku are also watching. Also, if you want part 2 to What If Deku Was a Teacher, just tell me in the comments, please. Because I did really work hard on that, and it barely got any views. You know, it is kind of sad, but it's whatever. If you guys don't like it, nothing much I can do about it. Okay, on a less depressing note, so Midoriya, he gets into, like, you know, a sprinter's stance. You know, everyone wonders, like, why is he doing that, you know? As his face starts elongating, you know, instead of horns popping out of his head, which he does still have the little horns that come out, but wolf ears pop out, and then a tail, a wolf tail. Yeah, you may be wondering, wait, what? Yeah, basically he's turning into a wolf, or like, I don't know, he's turning to a wolf. His wolf form is the fastest form. Nah, I'm just kidding. His fastest form is his true boss form, which is the Netherian king, I think? Like the true king of the Nether in the end. Yeah, that form. That's his like best, most powerful form. But Midoriya was told not to use full boss. So he gets into the position, and then he just, the moment President Mike says go, you know, he's fully transformed. He's a black and white wolf. You know, his left side is black, his right side is white. That's a mouthful. You know, he just, skirt. You know, everyone already did get caught by Todoroki's thing, but Izuku already got to the minefield by that point. You know, he sniffs the ground, noticing the mines. You know, his green eye lights up, turning both of his eyes green. Now, I probably didn't specify in the last part, but his green eye is able to detect inanimate objects. No, wait. No, his red eye is able to detect inanimate objects. His green and see-through walls. Both of them can see through walls, but one's for animate and inanimate, so living and non-living objects. So instead of his green, both of his eyes turn red. You know, he looks around seeing all the mines. You know, and you know, he basically, you know, some of his fur starts moving as black on his right side, like a white liquid starts coming out of his back, and then on his a black liquid that starts creating, you know, a bunch of other wolves as they all start digging up the mines and placing them at the start in a way that they would detonate the moment someone got close, creating a massive wall of explosions. It's hilarious. Now, after all this done, they just disappear, as Midoriya then just books it to the end. You know, he makes it to the end. First place, Izuku Midoriya! That's a really weird thing. You know, as he starts standing up on his, you know, on his legs, he starts immediately transforming back. Ew. I hate wolf ears. That's weird. You know, his normal pointy ears come back. Oh yeah, that's much better. Ah. Hey, Dad, did you see me? You were cool. You were very good, kid. Alright. Now you just gotta wait for everyone else. I hope they noticed the little trick you pulled. You know, everyone gets to the minefield, they're like, what trick? Did you do something in the mines? Also, he made it to where it looks like the mines are everywhere, but yeah, magic. So, Bakugo's like, dang it, I don't have time for this! Boom! The bombs immediately launched out of the ground and spread out all over everywhere. One hits Bakugo on the back, blasting him back down towards the ground, knocking him unconscious when he hits the ground due to the force. Midoriya is turning around like, ooh, ow. That had to have hurt like a lot. Ooh. The mines are still falling. There's some that are now popping out of the ground. Everyone's running for their lives. Todoroki, then Bakugo come through. Hello? Oh, I'm seeing things. Anyway, Midoriya, Bakugo, and then everyone else. Everyone else is like, Midoriya, that was so not fair! Hey, they never said we weren't allowed to alter the field in any way. Uraraka could have levitated all the robots and just... If Uraraka was fast enough, she could have levitated all the robots and just dropped them all on y'all. They all look at they all look at Aizawa and President Mike, and Aizawa's like, well, yeah, he's not wrong. You could have easily altered the race in any way. Midoriya was the only one that paid attention. The rules never said anything about not being able to change the environment with your quirk, or just using simple brain power. As they hear Neji going, whoa, good job, Izu! He's like, thanks, Neji. Oh god. Neji Ray. He's like, thanks, Otto. As, she's like, So, now it's time for the cavalry battle. Midoriya is like, hey, Dad Zawa, do I have to do this? Yes. Okay. So he teams up with the same people in canon. They don't use the same tactic, because now Tokoyami is the one with the headband. Izuku, anytime someone gets close to them, he just bamfs away. Teleporting them all with him. Once they're far enough away, if someone does get too close, Izuku either bamfs away, they either move out of the way, or Tokoyami uses Dark Shadow, where Izuku just breathes green fire, because he can do that. Time ends, they still have them in 1 million points. Now it's Izuku versus Shinso. Izuku doesn't talk hardly to anyone in his class, because, he's super shy. He has Ranboo's personality. He walks up onto the stage, and Shinzo is like, so, you're the freak everyone's told me about. He winces at the moment Shinzo says freak. Like, he senses that Shinzo's trying to do something, so he doesn't speak, and he's like, what? You think you're too good to speak to me? Izuku nods no. Huh? So, I'm guessing that tail dude told you what my quirk was? He shakes his head again, no. Then, how do you know what my quirk does? He shakes his head, no. So I'm guessing you don't know what my quirk can do? He shakes his head, yes. Well, how? As he just shrugs. Izuku just shrugs. And then immediately bamfs in front of him. Like poof of smoke. he disappears, appears right behind him, does a spin kick that he's it's too late for him to dodge, so he gets kicked in the face and sent out of the ring. As he says, "Sorry, I didn't mean to kick you that hard." He'll be fine. Probably. Is he still alive? He looks over. And he's good. He's good. He's not dead. I didn't kick him that hard. He's okay. He's just unconscious. We're good. Everyone cheers. I don't know why, just they do. He walks over, picks up Shinso, carries him over his shoulder, brings him to Recovery Girl. Skip everyone else's fight. We're here for Izuku versus Todoroki, and then versus Bakugo. Actually, you know what? Since there were extra people, I'm just gonna say there were more people were able to get in. Since more people were able to get in, it's a 1v1v1. Basically, it's a 1v. Like, if we're looking at it from Deku's point of view, he's fighting Todoroki and Bakugo. They're both gonna focus on him, and after he's taken out, they're gonna fight. But they're not gonna be able to take him out. So at the start, Todoroki slams his left foot into the ground. No, his right foot. And just giant pillar of ice, Midoriya. He's like, ah! Bamf. He teleports to the left side of Todoroki. He punches him in his, in the left side of his ribcage, sending him a few feet. As Bakugo tries to attack him from behind, Midoriya just dodges and then punches Bakugo. He does an uppercut straight into Bakugo's gut. And it pretty much goes on like that for a few minutes. They attack, he disappears, and then hits them. Todoroki's like, come, they're both like, come on, go all out. We know you're stronger than that. He's like, no, I don't wanna hurt you on purpose. They're like, Bakugo's like, with your useless power, I don't think you can hurt us. Aizawa is ticked off by that, and Izuku's like, Aizawa picks up the microphone. Izuku Matoi! No, Izuku Aizawa! Izuku jumps, like, yeah? If you don't take them out by knockout, you will be, I'll take away your phone. He's like, what? Why? That's not fair. Life isn't fair. Now you gotta take them out. I give you permission to go all out. What? You sure? I've only used it one time. They're like, what are they on about? Everyone's like, what are they on about? Yeah, use the king's form. Yes! He starts jumping up and down like, yeah. Okay. You hear whispering, and you just see like a bunch of weird symbols and letters in different languages pop up. You see Endarian, the enchantment book, how you can't read what's written, those pop up. The gas language, the blaze language, every language that Izuku knows, and he knows almost all of them. Symbols pop up, and he starts chanting, grant me thine power. As he says that, just a energy beam shoots upward, and it starts covering the entire I'm just gonna call it freaking arena. You know, everyone is like, what's going on? You know, they look up and see the moon. Is that the moon? Little do they know, he teleported everyone to a different realm. You know. Also, everyone can still see what's going on. I call upon thine power. The will of the end and the will of the beginning. You are mine to command. You know, as, like, weird, you know, energy starts emanating off of Izuku, like, over the top of him, you know, ender particles start appearing, you know, you can just faintly make out, like, a dragon, and, like, underneath him, you can see this red stuff with, like, black bones starting to come out that catches on fire, you know, as he continues chanting, I have beaten you. I have consumed your power. You will grant me your strength in my most dire hour. God level skill. Wait, hold on. God tier transformation skill. The true king of the dimensional king. You know, so, you know, the wings pop out, you know, he gets bigger, you know, the armor appears, as, like, spikes and tendrils come out of his back along with wings. You know, the spikes come out of, like, the center of his back, the wings come out, like, at the shoulder area, the tendrils come out of the, like, lower back, you know, his talons pop out of his shoes, you know, his clothes disappear, and so do his shoes, as he goes, you know, and then he immediately, you know, one of his eyes goes black and the other one purple. You know, as his wings pop out and a giant, you know, circle appears on his, you know, appears floating behind him, as, like, laughing skulls start appearing and flying around Izuku. You know, as fireballs start appearing on the tips of his tails, he's like, you want to back out, because if you don't come at me with 100%, you're as good as dead. You know, and I'm gonna say Bakugo has mastered at least, like, 20% of One For All. So he's like, come on, half and half, I know you got more than ice. I'm going all out. I won't use my father's quirk. You know. And Bakugo walks over and backhands him. This is not the time to be dealing with your daddy issues. Listen, you look at what we're up against. You know, as black and white smoke comes out of Izuku's mouth. That thing will have no remorse. He will attack until he has won. So he won't go easy on you just because you have daddy issues. I hope you realize that you should go hard. You shouldn't go easy. You shouldn't use half your power. Everyone else here has used everything they had. And you expect to win only using half? Wake up, half and half. You know, and he's like, first off, you ever hit me again, I'm gonna torch you. You know, and then he's like, fine. You know, he ignites his left side. You know, he starts creating ice. You know, Bakugo gets into his scorpion stance. You know, he powers up One For All. His explosions are bigger. Izuku, you know, then takes out a giant battle axe and slams it in between them, causing a massive shockwave that knocks them off their balance. As he then, he fires like 3 or 4 fireballs and witherheads towards Bakugo, who's dodging and blasting them with his explosives, causing them to detonate, at a safe-ish distance. But one of the witherheads did hit him in the back, and he's like, God! Ah! God, this hurts! God! And, the reason that it hurts so much is because the wither effect. His body is hit with a wither effect for a few seconds, so it does weaken him. After a few seconds, he's like, what the heck? What's that? Ow. So, Bakugo does get back up, and Izuku's distracted, destroying a giant pillar of ice. So he does get hit square in the chest with an explosion. Also, that blast, also, I should mention this, when he transforms, his normal skin, and then his clothes, it's his normal skin, clothes, and then the, whatever form. So when he got blasted, the form, moved out of the way. You took the damage, and then it was, blasted away. And then his clothes were blasted away. Midoriya, so his shirt was totally torched. So Midoriya, he did a slight detransformation, ripped off the shirt, and completely transformed again. As he then, grabs Bakugo, grabs Bakugo's leg, and then just gives him the 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. He gives him the Hulk treatment, if you know what I mean. I mean, you should know. I've said it like a bunch of times now. And then he throws him out of the ring while he's completely unconscious. As he then, teleport, he appears right in front of Todoroki. Now he's double Todoroki's size at the moment. Now you may be wondering, wait, wouldn't he be like freaking gigantic? Yeah, he can control how big or small he can be. You should know that by the fact that, in the first few episodes, on the very first episode I said, yeah, his Ender form is double the size of the 0-pointer. Yeah, if you didn't get, he's also able to shapeshift. You're kind of slow, not gonna lie. I'm just playing. I love you all. Anyway, so Midoriya then, picks up Todoroki by, just grabbing him. Yeah, just like straight into his face. Opens his mouth like, green energy. No, purple and black energy starts, lighting up in the back of his throat. Todoroki's like, he feels the energy and it's too, he feels the heat and it's too much for him, so he passes out. Yeah, I know. That's how hot Izuku's flame is when he goes all out. As Izuku drops Todoroki, and then it turns, everyone thinks it turns back to daytime, but little do they know that Izuku just teleported them back to their dimension. Great. Midoriya starts de-transforming. He's like, ugh, man, that's the second time I've ever used that form. And the control was great. Good. Then again, good thing I dubbed it down quite a bit. Also, Midoriya isn't wearing a shirt. He didn't remember that he had to rip it off because it was on fire. And all the girls are like, ah! You know, just a very high-pitched squeal. And Midoriya's like, ow! Why did you... Wait a minute. He looks up and see all the girls are having nosebleeds. Like, not only the girls from his class, but Nejire is already passed out. And every other girl in the stands, including Mirako, yes, even Mirako, and Ryuku, and everyone else who was watching the fight, you know, they see this and instant nosebleed. You know, Izuku is like, is everyone okay? As Aizawa is like laughing, you know, he's laughing his butt off. He's like, Izuku, but come on, man, put on a shirt. You know, Izuku, you know, his eyes open wide. You know, he starts looking down. And he realizes he's not wearing a shirt. You know, his white side turns red and his pink side, I mean, no, his entire face lights up, green on his black side, white on his, no, red on his white side. He's like, you know, he bamf, just instant teleport, it's away. You know, he's like super embarrassed. He was shirtless on national television. Everyone that was watching saw his freaking physique. Meaning this man's gonna have fangirls before he even becomes a hero. It's hilarious. It's funny. I mean, I like this. I love this. Anyway, getting back to the old story. Now, again, when Midoriya, you know, now we're going to do a time skip quickly to the... Oh yeah, the pool episode. I forgot about that. Oh crap, I also forgot about the internships. Oops. I always do that. Alright, well, basically, everyone, like every female hero asked him to join their agency. You know, he got a few male hero requests, including one from Endeavor, of all people. As, you know, Midoriya's like, can I just intern with Aizawa? You know, he's like, Aizawa's like, no, choose one. You know, and he's like, I guess the only one with a quirk kinda similar to mine is Ryuko. You know, Ryuko. You know, he's like, so the dragon hero, eh? Look, there's nothing I can do. Plus, I don't think she was there. And I hope she wasn't watching TV. Alright then. I'll ask. We'll ask. You know. And, it's an instant accept. You know, she is, like, ecstatic. You know, so when he gets there, she's like, so you're the Izuku Midoriya, yeah. You know, I saw your, transformation. It seems pretty powerful. Oh, so you saw the... Yes, I did. Also, how are you so jacked? How old are you? I'm 17. How are you so jacked at 17? I'd rather not talk about it. Hold on, I have to go talk to someone. Mirako! You know, she calls Mirako. Mirako, he's here! What? He accepted yours? Oh man. Sucks to be you. I'm coming over. You know, she hangs up the phone. So wow, it's really him. So, wanna go on a patrol with me? Huh? Wait, why, what's going on? Oh, he's so cute. Ryuko, I'm stealing him. No, you can't. Yes, I am. Because I just did. You know, she grabs Midoriya and jumps out the window. Midoriya's like, You know, as they're running away, Ryuko transforms and like, get back here, Miracle! You know. You know, as Nejire hears this and, you know, walks out, like, huh? You know, she sees Izuku and he's like, I'm gonna bamf now. Bamf. Boof. You know, he teleports back into Ryuko's office. Okay, so this was obviously a mistake. You know, he sees Nejire, and Nejire is like, hey, Izuku. He's like, oh, hey, Nejire. What's up? Shite. You know, they get into a conversation. Ryuko comes back. You know, so does Mirako. You know, they see Izuku and Nejire talking. You know, they're like, can we get in on this? You know, Izuku's like, get in on what? You're two, can we make it, you know, y'all two dating, can we get in? You know, he's like, what? We're not dating. You know. As, you know, they're all like, aww. I mean, we're just friends. You know. Nijire's like, oh, so that's how it feels. Yep. Deserved that. Yep. Definitely felt that one. You know. You know how it be. Anyway, getting back into the actual story, eventually, you know, Ida gets saved by, Todoroki, and Izuku didn't get, you know, to ever run into Stain, so. But Stain does believe Izuku is worthy. Also, there is a decent reason that I'm about to say something. So, one day, you know, Izuku's chilling at home. Eraserhead's like, ugh, Izuku! He's like, yeah? Come down right now. Someone wants to talk to you. He's like, okay, who is it? Is it Nejire? No, it's the blonde idiot. You know, All Might's like, come now, there's no need to call me such rude names. But you're a blonde idiot. You're not wrong, but whatever. Anyway, I have a question for you, Izuku. Whatever it is, the answer is no. Huh? You know, even as I was like, huh? You know, even, like I said, even as I was like, huh? You know, he's like, why do you even bother? Why are you even here? Well, I was going to offer you something. Whatever it is, don't want it. But why? Because normally if it involves you, it ends up in someone being dead. You know, as I was like, Izuku, you know that wasn't, I know it wasn't his fault. But still, he could have been a little more careful. I may be still angry about that, but I don't care. I have Dad Zawa, so be glad about that. You know, as I was like, aw, you kid. Anyway, after that whole thing, Now it is time for... What is it now? The training camp. I hope this is a lot longer than I think it is. When I get there, you know, I'm gonna say that the entire class, you know, especially the girls, every time they look at Izuku, you know, they light up red. They light up red. You know, so Izuku, and also the big three are going. They're bringing their girlfriends, which are like 2 other third years. Oh, crap. That's extremely annoying. Okay. Anyway, like I was about to say, you know, eventually Izuku and Nejire, you know, one night Izuku's staying up late to train, and Nejire sees him training, you know, and she's like, huh, I should talk to him. So she floats over and is like, hey Izuku, you doing okay? He's like, I'm doing fine, Nejire. I'm doing fine, Hado-san. How are you? I'm doing alright. You got anything you want to talk about? Well, no, not really. You remember the sports festival? God, please don't remind me. That was so embarrassing. Shows you that you shouldn't flex. What? I didn't know that he'd aim for the shirt. The jerk. Okay, so then, you know, Izuku's danger sensing ability goes off. He's like, Nejire, I think we're about to be attacked. Go get everyone. The League of Villains are a little bit late because they had to bring in some extra Nomus because they knew Izuku was there. You know, they found Izuku and then, you know, um... Anyway, So, Izuku activates, his true king form, the dumbed down version. So, he still looks like Izuku, he just, isn't fully transformed. And he goes, he starts fighting the LOV. Aizawa walks out, he joins the fight, and eventually, Izuku does win. He does save Koda, who did try and hit him in the Badlands. Minecraft references, I swear. But Izuku just bamfed out of the way. I was like, that's not nice. So eventually, Izuku, after saving him from Muscular and getting all the other villains, he caught most of the other villains. So instead of just getting, two villains, there was like Twice got caught, Toga wasn't, Mr. Compress, Spinner, Magnet Dude, whatever his name was, Moonfish, and Muscular, they were all caught, And, Bakugo, no. Nejire was captured. When Izuku found out about this, he was like, no, 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 no. I saw, he was crying about it. His voice was, he started making Enderman noises, and I was like, crap. He's about to have a freak out. He's like, everyone back up! As he then goes full, and when I say full, I mean like full transformation king form. He has the tendrils, which he has in his half form, but there's more than normal. And then, instead of just having 2 pairs of wings, he has 4. And there are a lot more, heads floating around. As creatures from both the Nether and the End start popping up, appearing around Izuku, and they're running away, trying to find Nejire. As, his horns fully grow, creating the flaming crown. As then he, howls just... It was a terrifying howl. He disappears. He's flying everywhere trying to pick up Nejire's scent. Hundreds of different creatures. Not only just Enderman blazes, ghasts, wither skeletons, normal skeletons, piglins, and hoglins are running around, but a bunch of other just random creatures. Occasionally an Enderman will pop into someone's house and then disappear again. They'll run into buildings, people's houses. Ooh, I shouldn't have done that. And everything else. And eventually they find, an Enderman pops into the bar, sees Nejire, and then the League of Villains attack, well, what's left of them. Dobby lights them on fire. The Enderman's like, ah! You know, it does the Enderman screech. You know, and all of the mobs immediately stop moving. You know, they all, you know, they rise up a little bit, looking to where they heard the screech from. You know, Izuku hears the yell, turns around. You know, all the mobs start converging on that one area. They're like, what the heck is that thing? You know, they turn on the news. They realize, like, wait, was that like a ant? Like a worker ant? What the heck is that? What the heck is coming towards us? You know, as Izuku appears, you know, no, all the mobs gather around the bar. You know, as Izuku crashes in through the roof. You know, he's in full monster mode. So he just, you know, the moment he starts looking up, you know, his eyes are like shaking all over the place. You know, all of them immediately freeze. And, you know, Izuku turns around, touches the chair Netra is in, it just turns to dust. You know, Shigaraki's like, how is he doing? How did he do that? That was made of an indestructible material. You know, he picks up Nejire. Also, Nejire was being tortured by Toga and everyone else because they wanted her to become a villain, so Izuku would be forced to join or she would die. You know, so she's crying because, you know. No, it took him about, like, almost a full day to find her. Because, they moved locations to a different bar. You know, so All For One appears, like, so, you are the legendary, you know, Midori starts turning his head, you know, All For One sees that you're as good at, you know, he sees the you're going to die look in his eyes. You know, everyone sees this, even Kurogiri, like, gets scared. You know, and Enderman, no, and Enderman bamfs in, bumf. You know, he speaks Enderman and tells the Enderman to take her to Recovery Girl. You know, the Enderman nods. Immediately, as Izuku turns around, you know, he spreads out his wings and all of his tendrils come out too. You know, he looks at Kurogiri first, instantly teleports into his face, touching his head. You know, all the void particles disappear, and, you know, he turns back into, you know, who he was before he got turned into an Omu, and he's like, wait, what, I'm free? You know, Izuku just nods. As then, you know, he gets, you know, Izuku bamfs him over to, you know, UA. As then he looks over at All For One. You know, he walks up, pokes him. You know, All For One's fully healed, and he's like, wait, I'm healed? Why did he do that? You are a fool for... You know, he stabs All For One in the gut, you know, and then rips out, you know, his spine from the front, as then he gets ripped out of Izuku's hand and sent back into All For One. You know, All For One's like, what did you do? You know, you just see just the most terrifying grin crawl across Izuku's face. You know, as then you can hear what seems like an audible chuckle, you know, as the Enderman, like, he picks up and throws the rest of the LOV outside, as all the mobs and monsters just pounce. You know, they're trying to defend themselves the best they can. It's not working. They're fighting an army of almost indestructible creatures. Like, even... Okay, the Enderman they fought against was a scout. They're fighting army Endermen. So they're decked out in armor. And they have weapons. You know, and then, you know, Izuku starts laying into All For One. All For One isn't even getting the chance to use his quirks. He's not even getting a chance to breathe. Izuku's just killing him, and then killing him, and then killing him, and then killing him. Each time it's getting more and more brutal. You know? And it's just getting, you know, if you were looking at it, you know, you'd start throwing up by the time that Izuku, you know, started to really turn up the heat. Because now he's decaying, you know, he's ripping All For One apart, decaying his organs. You know, All For One is feeling all of this. As then Izuku just he just keeps destroying his body. Until All For One is like begging, like, stop, please, stop, it hurts, stop. You know, Izuku, something finally clicks in Izuku's head. This is him. This is the guy. It's him. All For One. You know, All For One hears this and he's like, he gets a good look at Izuku. You were that kid. How old did I say Izuku is? 16? 17? 18? I'm gonna make him 18. Sorry. That was you? 10 years ago? Because I'm just gonna say he was 8. If I said he was any other age, I'm sorry. Yeah, he was 8. I'm changing it now. He was 8, so it was 10 years ago. You know, as Izuku now is really starting to kick it up, you know, he'll fill All For One full of a, you know his fire? There's a liquid version of it. Yeah, he's filling All For One with a liquid version of his fire, magma, and like a bunch of other liquids, completely destroying his body. You know, All For One, like I said, is feeling all of this. Aizawa, you know, none of the monsters will attack Aizawa because, you know, the system has him set to do not attack no matter the cost. Ensure that he survives, you know. So when Aizawa sees Izuku just, you know, completely just doing monstrous things to All For One, you know, he's like, Izuku! You know, Izuku immediately stops right before he's about to rip All For One's head off. Right as he's about to crush All For One's skull. He lets go. He turns around, he's crying. He sees Aizawa and he starts crying. He covers his face with his hands. And then he falls to his knees. And, Aizawa runs over like, Izuku! Hey, calm down. I'm gonna need you to calm down. You can actually hear him crying, because he's freaked out. He's scared himself. Honestly, at that point, he was not in control. As I was like, shh, it's okay. He grabbed onto Aizawa and he's crying into his shoulder as he starts shrinking. All of the extra stuff starts disappearing off of Izuku as he's just crying and crying. Because Izuku remembered that, it was All For One's fault that his parents are dead. And what he did all those years ago. So, he's like, I remember I'm a monster. As I was like, you shut up. You're not a monster. You're my son. You're my son. There's nothing in the world that can ever change that. You hear me, kid? Okay. I'm sorry. It's fine. Where's Nejire? I think with Recovery Girl, there was a boy with blue hair, too. I sent him to UA. He had goggles. He looks over at All For One. You'll serve your sentence to society. Yes, anything. Just get me away from that freak. He's not a freak. He's my son. And I care about him more than anything in this world. And now we're going to do a quick little time skip. All For One is convicted. He's charged. As he's going in, he's laughing. Everyone... Now, there were cameras that saw Izuku in this form. They didn't... Well, they did show Izuku just tearing All For One limb from limb, filling him up with death, and just completely killing him over and over and over again. Now, if you're wondering, wait, how did he do that? Wait, how is All For One even alive then? Because you said he killed him, like, multiple times. Yes. That is because of the healer tree. You guys really thunk that I was gonna forget about the 7 heroes tree? Really? Yeah. One of the ultimate skills of the healer tree is the ability to make your target immortal for a few minutes. Up to, depending on how high your skill, your abilities are. Since Izuku's abilities are completely maxed out, and quite literally nearly infinite, he was able to keep All For One immortal until, Aizawa calmed him down. Now, again, Izuku then, you know, when he got back, Ninja was like, Izuku! You know, they did get together, and that's where I'm going to be leaving this part off. No, wait, hold on. So after they got together, they went out on a date, you know, they went to Island. The whole attack happened, Izuku took out the guy, and then they got to stay for an extra few days. And, you know, the last day they were there, they watched the sunset, and they made out. So, yeah, that's going to be the end of this. That's going to be all for this time, you guys. If you want a part 3 of this, tell me in the comments below. Honestly, I think I rushed through, like,